So there's somebody joining from Naples. Welcome. Welcome. We'll give everybody just a minute to get settled and get in, and then I will introduce our speaker today. Good morning, Tommy. Welcome. Glad you're with us. Shreveport. Excellent. All right. Well, let me get us started today. We are very honored to have our very own from SGR, JJ Peters, speaking today. JJ is the President of Executive Recruitment for SGR. She's been with us since 2021, and I can't begin to tell you what an impact she's had upon our company and as well as many, many organizations that she's been able to serve through this position. So she probably doesn't need too much of an introduction to you, but let me just tell you a few things about JJ. She's spent her career involved in HR, recruitment, both, of course, in the public sector, in local government, and then through her work here at SGR. She's a graduate from Portland State University, so go Vikings, and has a degree in both human resources and management as well. And JJ has been someone that I have really learned a lot from. She's a colleague, she's a friend, she's a great teammate, but she's a great leader and manager. And I've learned a lot about leadership from her, and really excited to have her talk today. She's going to talk about recruiting and retaining great employees. She is married to her husband, Aaron, and they have two kids, Jared and Natalie, and a famous dog, Cabo. And I'm going to let Krissa talk a little bit about this dog. So, Krissa, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Awesome. So it may sound silly to include a dog in an introduction, but this is not an ordinary dog. This is Cabo the blind doggo, who has a massive following on social media, a lot of really fun, uplifting, cute videos. And so if you're a dog person or just a person, I want to recommend that you go and check Cabo out. I'm going to put a link to one of the TikToks. I just went through and found one of my favorites with some help from my 7-year-old, and grabbed the link to share with everyone today. So if you just, need a little pick-me-up break, want to put a smile on your face, go check out Cabo the doggo, because he's pretty impressive.
Fantastic. Well, with that, JJ, welcome. I really appreciate you taking time to talk to us today and share this webinar with us. And we want to turn it over to you and let you share.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And thank you for your kind words, Mike. And yes, Krissa had to talk me into including Cabo in the slideshow, but I have to tell you, my son doesn't live at home anymore, but when he created this back in high school, it just went viral. And Cabo really is a special dog. He's kind of inspired the world. We had to create a PO box several years ago because people were wanting to send him fan mail. And I tell you, some of the letters that he got just were so inspiring and just touching. So anyway, thank you for that, Krissa. As Mike mentioned, before I had the incredible opportunity to join the SGR team several years ago, I spent the majority of my HR career in local government, conducting and overseeing recruitment and selection for all county departments at Clackamas County, one of the 3 major counties in the Portland, Oregon metro area. I now have the pleasure and honor of speaking almost daily with local government staff and/or elected officials across the nation to learn about their needs and share how SGR can assist them in recruiting, assessing, and developing innovative, collaborative, and authentic leaders. The whole reason Ron Hollifield created SGR many years ago. Most of our team here at SGR spent a number of years in public service prior to joining SGR. We know and understand many of the challenges you face and are deeply passionate about supporting you as you work tirelessly to serve your communities. During our short time together today, I'll share some current trends we're seeing in local government recruitment. Then we will talk about some ideas you might consider and perhaps a little homework for you to do to help your organization stand apart from other organizations competing for the same talent. Excuse me. We will close by highlighting the many ways SGR is here to support you, and then we will have plenty of time for questions and sharing of additional ideas. Chris and Mike will be monitoring the chat for us, so please feel free to comment or ask questions as we go. And with that, I'll dive right in. This slide shows the latest unemployment stats by state that I could find. This chart reflects current unemployment rates for states and historical highs and lows, seasonally adjusted as of February 2024, and is courtesy of the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics website. At the risk of stating the obvious and something you already know, as you can see, unemployment across the nation is extremely low. The current rates are much closer to the historical lows than they are the historical highs. Competition for top talent is high across the board to fill positions, but we're seeing this particularly for police officers, finance, public works, and engineering positions. You may think it's just in your state, but there's a nationwide shortage of finance professionals and engineers. Those happen to be two areas that we aren't just competing with our public sector colleagues. We also face stiff competition from the private sector, which isn't easy unless we're able to find those candidates who have a passion for public service and making a difference in their community. This very low unemployment means the majority of people you want to hire more than likely already have a job. As you can see on the chart, as of February 2024, the lowest unemployment in the nation was in North Dakota at 2.0%. The highest unemployment is in California at 5.3%. Let me repeat that. The highest unemployment rate in the nation is 5.3%. Another trend impacting recruitment is the impact that high mortgage interest rates are having on candidate pools, particularly for positions that are already challenging to fill. We're seeing smaller than usual applicant pools. Between the limited housing availability in many regions and the high mortgage rates, many job seekers are less likely to be able to pack up and move unless there is something drawing them to the community and/or the job opportunity. Smaller applicant pools mean hiring salaries are continuing to go up, and the number of candidates we're seeing receiving counteroffers from their current employers to stay are also increasing. From a May 16th, 2023 Fortune.com article, and I quote, "So few people are willing to relocate for a new job that it just hit a record low. Hybrid work and high mortgage rates are to blame. The share of job seekers who relocated to take up a new position fell to 1.6%, the lowest level on record in the first quarter of 2023, according to a quarterly survey that's been carried out by executive coaching firm Challenger, Gray, and Christmas for decades. Behind the shift in attitudes lies a post-pandemic surge in remote and hybrid positions, which has made it possible for more workers to stay where they're living, even as they change jobs. What's more, higher interest rates have made buying a house somewhere else more expensive, especially when it also requires people to sell an existing home that's financed with a mortgage locked in at low rates. The numbers on this slide are hypothetical and courtesy of ChatGPT, but if I'm being really candid with you, these hypothetical numbers are better than some of the realities we are seeing and hearing about. I don't know about you all, but I know individuals with mortgage rates on their current homes as low as 1.99%. The example on your screen only shows rates as low as 3%. For people who were able to take advantage of the very low rates several years ago, it can be very tough for them to give that low interest rate up. A candidate in one of our recent searches absolutely loved the organization and the community. He was offered the position. Unfortunately, he ended up declining the offer because when it got down to crunching the numbers and the reality of current interest rates and home prices, he and his wife discovered their mortgage payment for a comparable home to the one they currently have was going to double from their current mortgage. The salary the organization was able to offer just wasn't going to be enough for him to be able to make the move. I came across an easy read of 20 labor market trends to watch in 2024 on Forbes.com that you might want to take a closer look at. Krista will be posting it in the chat for you. I'll just highlight a few of the trends as food for thought as you contemplate how your organization may be able to utilize this knowledge. Number 2 on their list, forward-thinking approaches are needed for employee retention. Number 3, remote and hybrid work is here to stay. Number 4, employees want flexible work arrangements. Number 5, the typical employee tenure is changing. 6, wait times are shrinking. Speed is more important than ever in the competition for talent. 13, degree requirements are becoming less common. Number 14 is one I think is particularly noteworthy as we compete for talent with the private sector. Newer generations want to work for a purpose. Number 15, employees have made flexibility a top priority. 17, maintaining a competitive edge requires work-life balance for employees. And number 20, focus on skills-based hiring to enhance your workforce. So let's shift our focus now on what you can do to set your organization apart from all the others in the best possible way. Let's talk for a little bit about the importance of your website and your job postings as a way to set your organization apart. I think examples can be really helpful to spark ideas. There are all kinds of great examples out there. One I'm intimately familiar with is Clackamas County, Oregon. I reached out to my successor at Clackamas County last week and asked him if he'd mind if I shared some screenshots of their current job postings with you and give them a shout out for their excellent work setting their organization apart in their efforts to recruit top talent. We won't take time to play this couple-minute video, but Krista will place it in the chat if you'd like to see how Clackamas County created a video that explains their core values and does a nice job of highlighting the large variety of ways their employees serve the public. They also include their core values in all of their job postings. I also recommend that you incorporate your core values into your interview process. Another thing I'd strongly encourage you to consider if you aren't already is posting the salary range for the position in your job posting. And I know that there's pros and cons to doing this. With more and more states implementing equal pay acts, I think it's only a matter of time before it becomes a requirement, as it already is in Washington state. I can't tell you how many applicants you are likely missing out on if the salary range is not listed in your job posting. Remember, most of the candidates you're seeking are likely gainfully employed, and if they can't quickly and easily tell your position offers them an opportunity to make just as much or preferably more money than they're currently making, they will likely quickly move on to the next job posting. The screenshots I'm sharing with you today are for a 911 call taker position. This particular salary range happens to have a very structured starting salary dependent on the candidate's paid or unpaid experience. This next slide is a continuation of the last slide, focusing on the benefits the county offers in addition to the salary. Benefits are really important, and I see a number of organizations that maybe just make one quick comment that just says excellent benefits. That really doesn't tell the candidates anything, and it really can help by distinguish us from private sector employers because often the public sector does have excellent benefits. I encourage you to take time to highlight the benefits offered in your job postings. And if you'll notice in this example, how they highlight employee health and wellness offerings for their employees and paid time off, and really send the message that they care and value their employees. This is one of my favorite parts of their job postings. And for this position in particular, again, remember it's a 911 call taker. It does a great job of briefly describing the job and how it makes a difference to citizens in their time of need. And then ask the prospective candidate questions to get them engaged and excited about the opportunity. I'd also like you to notice there isn't a single bullet related to years of experience. Note the minimum qualifications for this position. Again, not a single bullet requiring a specific amount of years of experience. This is an entry-level position that not everyone is cut out to do. They're seeking candidates with these skills and abilities, but they're not requiring specific years of experience. Let me go back real quick to the last slide. I wanted to just, point out those questions. I think, a strategy like this is really meaningful. It takes some work because you have to think about the position and what, is going to draw a person to this type of work. But, for a 911 call taker, are you passionate about helping others? Do you want to make a difference in people's lives every day? Do you have a gift for being able to remain calm in stressful situations? Are you quick on your feet and able to make critical decisions promptly? Are you an excellent communicator? Are you known for your exceptional listening skills? Do you have outstanding problem-solving skills? And have you considered starting an incredibly rewarding career? In addition to your job posting and website, a number of organizations do a great job of sharing their opportunities and engaging with the public, including potential candidates, on their organization's social media platforms. It's a nice way for prospective candidates to get an idea of your organization's culture and show the human side of your organization. The town of Flower Mound, Texas has done a great job of creating some creative, lighthearted videos that help them engage with their citizens and potential talent. There are many ways you can do this, and that will be dependent on your organization's culture. Flower Mound is a high-performing organization and seems to have a very fun, lighthearted culture that comes through in their social media posts. If you spend 10 minutes pulling up local government pages on LinkedIn, you'll be able to find some great examples and a variety of ways that local governments are creating engaging content to connect with potential candidates and their communities. So I mentioned the possibility of some homework if you're so inclined, some food for thought, and some questions to ask yourself as you evaluate your current strategies you're using to recruit talent. Take your hiring manager hat off for a minute and put yourself in the job seeker's shoes. Read your job posting from the job seeker's lens, as if you didn't know anything about your organization, the position, or community. If you read your job posting, would it draw you in? Would it get you excited about the opportunity? Or does it read like a job description? I mean, I've spent my entire career working in HR, and I'm the first to admit job descriptions are necessary, but they're boring, right? So help the candidate see themselves in the role, and a job description is not going to draw candidates in. You've got to get to their heart and really share with them what's unique about this opportunity. So what is unique or special about your opportunity or their organization? Don't try to compete with the private sector. Distinguish your opportunity from theirs. When you look at salary alone, let's face it, we often can't compete with the private sector. But what does your organization offer that they don't? Yes, money is an important factor, but it's not the only thing job seekers are seeking. Remember number 14 from the Forbes.com 20 labor market trends to watch for in 2024? Newer generations want to work for a purpose. And that's something we have in spades in local government. Do you currently or can you consider offering a hybrid or flexible work environment? What exciting projects or work do you offer? What awards has your organization or the hiring department received? Are you highlighting your organization's culture and values? One strategy I've seen work very well in connecting with prospective candidates is including employee quotes and pictures and or videos of employees sharing what they love about their job or working for the organization. There's something about hearing the passion in your employees' voices or the smiles on their faces that really speaks to people and wants them to be part of that department or that organization. Incorporate your values in the job posting and into your selection process. What better way to determine if a candidate is a match for your organization and if you are a match for them? Let's face it, cultures of organizations and even of departments within organizations can differ dramatically. Some in a positive way, others not so much. I guarantee you, if you work on your organization's culture and attract talent that believes in and shares the values, your organization and the community will benefit greatly, and you will have much better employee retention than your peers who don't create a culture that employees can thrive in. It really boils down to what does your position or organization offer the candidate to get them excited about your specific opportunity. Some other ideas: review or reevaluate your hiring systems and processes. Remember, one of the trends is, the process needs to be sped up. Are there hoops that you're making your candidates jump through that really aren't necessary? What can you do to speed up the process? Are you hiring for potential and core competencies versus experience only? Review your minimum requirements with a careful eye. Is 10 years of experience really required if the candidate possesses the required skills and experience? Could 5 be okay? Could 7 be okay? Is employee retention part of your strategy? Consider offering a hiring bonus, housing allowance, stipend, or designated housing. Consider relocation reimbursement. If you have residency requirements, consider waiving or extending those residency requirements to surrounding communities. Hopefully the ideas I've shared have been helpful and sparked some things for you to consider. It really boils down to this. To stand out to job seekers, we must put our organization's best foot forward throughout the entire recruitment and selection process once they get onboarded and during their employment. Remember, it's a job seeker's market. While you certainly need to evaluate the candidate and how well they meet your organization's needs, it's equally important to remember the candidate is also evaluating you, your organization, your department, and how well your position meets their needs. I'm a firm believer that every organization is special, and I particularly think that is true in local government where people are drawn to serve. If you don't already know, figure out what is special about your organization and use it to set your organization apart in recruiting top talent. So how can SGR help? Let us know how we can help you. We're here to serve you. We've developed a reputation at SGR for being there when those working in local government need us. Many of our clients know the services we offer in one or two of the areas on this slide, but they aren't always aware of the broad range of services and expertise we offer. I'd like to draw your attention to our job board. We just launched an awesome new platform and look last week, make it even easier for job seekers to search for opportunities matching their interests. You'll find it's extremely reasonably priced compared to most job boards out there. Many of our clients post all their job openings from part-time seasonal positions to executive level positions. Candidates can also sign up for free job alerts to be notified when new positions are posted. As I thought through today's topic, I realized we offer a number of relevant services, many of which can be customized to meet your organization's specific needs. If we can support you in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We really only touched on the tip of the iceberg when it comes to ideas to set your organization apart in recruiting and retaining talent. We wanted to allow plenty of time for idea sharing and questions. I'll wrap up the presentation portion with this list of links for the articles I referenced. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn it back over to Chris and Mike to open it up for any questions that you may have, and for you all to share additional ideas that may have come to mind, or share ideas that you may have implemented in your organization that may be helpful to others. Thanks very much.
Great job, JJ. Thank you so much. And I saw a question in the chat box. Will these slides be available? And we'll definitely be sending those out to everybody that signed up for the webinar. You can also catch this on our YouTube channel and share that from there. And so if you have a question, you can use either the Q&A feature or the chat box, and we will take some of those. And so, Chris, maybe you get us going with one. But before you do that, I want to ask you, JJ, when you were in the hiring capacity, what was some of your favorite questions to ask a potential candidate?
Great question, Mike. Well, you know, while it's gotten more challenging, it's been a applicant labor market for quite some time. And I think it's really important that, you know, you always allow time for the applicant to ask some questions at the end of the interview. I think that not only, you know, makes them feel like, okay, they care about me too. It's not just all about their needs, but they're interested in hearing, you know, what I'm interested in. But I think it also, you know, gives you some ideas of their interest and how good of a match they're going to be for the position. One question that I always like to ask, actually two questions that I always like to ask that are really insightful are, you know, always starting out with the easy one first, right? Tell me the top 3 things that you like most about your current position. And I like to use 3 because I think you often can get better information. A lot of times people are going to kind of give you a surface answer with that first answer. And then I, of course, follow that up with, tell me about the 3 things you like least about your current or last position. And let me tell you, people are not going to volunteer those 3 things very easily. You have to be comfortable with giving them time to answer, be comfortable with that silence, and, you know, encourage them to take their time. Usually they'll come up with, you know, one pretty quickly, and then really you can kind of get to the meat of what's driving them to look for another opportunity. Do they feel like they've, you know, topped out at their current employer? Are they frustrated with something in their current employment? And those are things that are going to help you in 2 ways. It's going to help you figure out, okay, you know, have a candid conversation with the candidate about maybe some of the things that they didn't like about their current job are true about your position. And I think it's important to be candid about that and to kind of talk through that. Or to ask clarification. You know, I've had candidates say, well, my current boss is a micromanager and I don't like being micromanaged. I want to understand, what's that mean to them? You know, and be able to talk through that, because, you know, working in local government, depending on the position you're recruiting for, there's going to be a lot of processes and procedures that initially you might have, depending on the person's role, you might have a lot more oversight initially before they're working on their own. So I've had some really good conversations with candidates about that, but it's also going to give me some great information when I get to the point of deciding which candidate I'm going to offer the position to understand what motivates them, what they're looking for. And basically for me to be able to, you know, not only present the salary that I'm offering them, but to talk about some of those things they touched on, you know, whether it's a 4-day work week that was attractive to them that their current position didn't offer, those types of things. So those are a couple questions I love to ask.
I think that's really important because, you know, you're looking for a sense of good judgment too when you're asking that question. If they are totally dissatisfied with where they've come from and they just, let all of that come out, you may be getting, somebody that is not going to have the right attitude about your organization either. And I think you want somebody who wants to move on, but can also have a fond affection for where they came from. Just like you talking about Clackamas County. I see that. And
That's so true,
that's
Mike.
what you want.
Yeah, and I think a couple other things that you made me think of. It also gives me some things that I might want to follow up with on references. If there's things that they mention, I might want to explore that. But it also, I think, is really a good way to your point, get a sense for how they communicate, and if they have kind of a positive lens or if they are pretty disgruntled. And, there can be reasons that positions aren't a good match, but kind of exploring and understanding that and kind of seeing how the person articulates that's really important, because most employers don't want to hear someone say how terrible their last employer was. That can be a red flag. But I think there's ways that people can communicate, that it was time to leave or make a change in a positive way.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Krista, let me throw it to you because I know we've got some questions that have come up.
Excellent. Yes. So I wanted to ask this because I think it's a good kind of clarifying question and maybe helps explain a little bit. But Carolyn asked a question about how to become a featured client. So will you kind of talk a little bit, JJ, about the different options there and how to be a featured client and what that means as far as publicity and promotion of the open job? Uh-oh, you're muted, JJ.
Sorry about that. Absolutely. Carolyn, great question. And I'm happy if you want to reach out to me to talk with you more about that. But in general, the featured clients are typically clients who are doing executive search with us. We do have some marketing and advertising features where you can become a featured client by our job and marketing. We have oh goodness, Job Blast. We have marketing and network boost and things like that that can help you be front and center in that area.
Yeah, and I think I'll put the link to the sgrjobs.com. And that way people can kind of explore, since there are some different options. I'll put the link to the SGR website for the executive recruitment page too. It's a little confusing because we offer kind of a plethora of services. And so I appreciate you kind of expounding on that a little bit, JJ.
Yeah, I think the job marketing, the a la carte job marketing and advertising would demonstrate those options. And then, reach out if you have any additional questions on that, Carolyn.
JJ, one of the things I hear a lot about is you touched on it, the matter of speed, and how you'll hear people in the organization be a little frustrated sometimes with HR because, oh, we lost this person because we were too slow. What comes to your mind that are, if I can say it this way, easy fixes that people could do to kind of speed up this process? I know there's limitations, but what do you see that people are doing that does speed up the process?
Sure. Well, I think it really depends on the position, but I think it's really taking a critical eye at your process and evaluating what are the things that we absolutely have to do. Using that 911 call taker, for example, there's testing that they're going to want those candidates to go through. There's a background check that they're going to go through. And those things, do take some time. But I think especially if you're trying to recruit a candidate who only has private sector experience and is not familiar with how the process can be lengthier and more time consuming in the public sector, I think, posting that information on the timeline in your job posting, but also really being thoughtful about, okay, when's the right time for these steps? And, do we really need to have all of these steps? And where can we expedite the process? I also think it's really critical that, that whether it's your HR team or whoever's responsible for communicating with the candidates, so they're keeping in communication with them so that they know their status, they know what to expect as a next step, and encourage them to ask questions.
Yeah, that's good. I see we've got a question here. It's a very good one about length of time people are willing to spend in local government. And the question is, are you noting any significant changes to a person's desire to remain in local government long term? We don't want to be a revolving door. And what are you seeing there, and how do we cope with that?
That's a great question. And I think, one of the trends that was highlighted in that Forbes article was talking about, the length of employment is changing. And very often it's a lot less than it used to be, for decades in public service. Even in the private sector, you saw, a number of employees stayed with an organization for decades. And that is becoming less and less common. But I think culture really plays a critical role in that, if the person feels valued, we spend so much time at work, right? So if you are with a work team that you enjoy working with, you work hard, but you also have fun. Those are things that can really make a difference in people wanting to stay longer and not give that up. And I think, also looking at, what are the benefits that your organization can offer? Do you have the ability to touch on some of those things that were in that Forbes article? Are you able to offer some flexibility? I think COVID, with all the challenges it had, it really changed some things for some local governments, not all. But the idea of remote or working from home was something that really wasn't considered by most public service organizations up until then. And I think really being thoughtful about thinking of that, and obviously, that can be up to the council and the board on those types of decisions, but really doing your homework and showing, what the benefits of these things are, and really thinking about flexibility. At SGR, one of the things that we do is, we want our employees to be able to not miss those life events, whether, it's a kid's soccer game or, special event that's going on in their life. And so, having that flexibility to kind of flex their hours for that day or that week, just things like that, sometimes really mean a lot to employees.
Yeah, that's really, really good. And you talked about the fact that our younger generation, and I think this is certainly true of millennials, it seems to me it's going to be true of Gen Z. They want to do something that has meaning. And I feel like always our local governments could lean into that more. And you gave some great examples of that, I think, with Clackamas County's advertisement. Any other advice you have for cities or local governments to lean into this fact that you can make a difference through local government?
Mike, you are spot on. That is so right. And, because the unemployment is so low, and because we are competing for most positions with the private sector, I think it's really important that you get to that. And, it's, yes, money's important, but it really does boil down to, so many people want to make a difference. And, those of us who have worked in local government for any length of time, or, had local government as a client, we know the passion that people have, and those are the type of people you're looking for. So really, taking a close look at your job postings and figuring out, okay, how can we get to the heart of, what this position does for their community, how it does make a difference, and, what's unique or special about our community or our organization.
That's super. Well, thank you so much, JJ, for your time and a great webinar. And I want to thank Krissa for all your work helping put this together as well, and Lisa Shook, who works behind the scenes. And thank you for joining us today. And again, you can catch this on our YouTube channel. And if you have some questions that come to your mind, you can put those questions there on the YouTube channel, and we will monitor those and get JJ to respond to them. Next week, we have Micah Gaudet that's going to be back with us. He's going to be talking about AI and financing for local governments and finance for local governments. But I'm excited about it. You may not be working in finance, but I think there'll be a lot of interesting things there just for all of us. And Micah has become such an expert on generative AI and how it relates to us in the work of local government. So I hope you'll join us for that webinar as well. Krissa, any final words?
I put the link to register in the chat. So if you don't already have that, feel free to use that to register for next week's session. And as always, appreciate you all being here and look forward to seeing you again next week.
All right. Again, thank you, JJ. And thanks, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you down the road.